Here's how I achieved this photo in 2 minutes or less. Some context behind this is that it was shot from a college booth where I had to create advertising images. I decided to do mine in toy products using Doctor Who action figures, having the 10th Doctor sitting inside of a TARDIS figure. What I found with promotion materials for toys is that they're typically marketed towards a younger demographic. This means that most of the ads you see are flashy, with bright and vibrant colours to attract the eyes of children. With Doctor Who figures specifically, all of the promotion seems to have mythical, space-like backgrounds. This gave me the idea to use light painting to paint the background, giving a similar effect to the TARDIS going through the time vortex just like in the Australian intro. The reason I wanted to do this, rather than just shooting a normal image and cutting out the subject to plaster it over an artificial background, like I done with my other shoots, was simply to experiment with long exposure and give my image more of a realistic feel to it, where you can tell that the figure is actually immersed within that environment. To do this, I got my camera, my lens and my tripod set up in the studio against a black background, and I placed my subject on a table with a blue reflective board on it. I then used a light up spinner toy like the ones that you get at amusement parks that spins while changing colours to paint the background, bringing a variation of different colours into my final image to make it pop. Studio lighting is too bright and overpowers that, so therefore I use my phone flashlight as my light source. I set my ISO to 100 as my photo would be well lit, and I set my aperture to f5.6 so that the background was blurry. I wanted a shallow depth of field while maintaining the subject is still sharp and focused. This just left my shutter speed, which after some experimentation, I landed on being 15 seconds, which throughout the duration of the process I've exposed the front and the sides of my product for 3 to 5 seconds with my phone flashlight, and then used the spinner light for another 5 to 7 seconds, swaying it up and down across the background of the frame before turning off all the lights to wait for the results. In post-production, I pulled it up in Lightroom to make basic edits. I masked the inside of the TARDIS to lighten up a little bit. Then I used a healing brush to remove all the scratch marks from the TARDIS as it was old and quite banged up. I then used the clone snap tool to remove the blue board from the surface to make it look like it was floating. I then pulled this into Photoshop to add the Doctor Who logo into it, using the eraser tool to carefully place it behind the subject. This gave the text a cool effect, letting it blend in with the environment rather than just being plastered on top of the image. Here's my final photo.